A very warm welcome back to the channel. In today's recap, we have a new Boeing order to go over. Emirates is returning to a location that's been missing on its route network for some time, and Etihad Airways is launching new routes. But why not begin with LATAM, who are growing their commitment to the Boeing 787, ordering up to 15 additional aircraft. The latest order will see the carrier purchase 10 Dreamliners, with the option for 5 additional units, these acting as purchase rights, should LATAM wish to activate these later down the line. Options being added to orders such as these are really a great opportunity for airlines to assess how they develop through the years and then determine whether or not they need these additional aircraft, and they just are sitting there. A commitment to this aircraft, or rather should I say a top-up, also shouldn't come as a shock, because ultimately, LATAM uses this aircraft on day-to-day flying. The carrier has 37 Dreamliners in its fleet, with the aircraft a prominent part of its commitment to the next generation of aircraft that'll bring greater efficiency and flexibility. The latest deal will see the airline's overall 787 commitment grow, with an expected 52 units active from this family by 2030 and moving into the next decade. The Boeing 787 has proved to be a really critical aircraft for airlines right around the world. However, in the case of LATAM, well, they've leveraged those all-important capabilities to their own advantage and flying it towards major international markets. LATAM highlights service towards locations such as Sydney in Australia as just one of the many examples of what this plane can do for them when connecting their home region to markets. Boeing said it was happy that LATAM still showed confidence in the product presented through the 787 Dreamliner and was very excited about the prospective international expansion from key hubs that will be possible. That very expansion will see LATAM look to foster future growth from Lima, Sao Paulo, and Santiago once the aircraft are eventually delivered. Emirates has officially returned to Adelaide, Australia, for the first time since the emergence of the pandemic, which has therefore boosted its flying to the land down under. Daily services are now being operated between the airline's home and the South Australian city as part of a commitment to offering over 4,200 weekly seats. Emirates will use its 777-200LR equipped with 302 seats spread across a 2-class configuration. This will see 38 in business and 264 in economy. The flight is going to be a huge positive for the South Australian economy and also just tourism industry, with greater connectivity across the evolving but generally colossal Emirates network, which serves points right around the world. Emirates flights are in fact expected to generate a staggering $62 million per year into the economy and create up to 315 full-time jobs for South Australians. The Executive Vice President of Passenger Sales and Country Management said Australia remains a priority market for Emirates and one that we have been deeply committed to for nearly 3 decades. The return of our Adelaide service reinforces our commitment to expanding our Australian network, which now offers 70 weekly services across 5 Australian cities. And it's going to be facing its fair share of competition. Why do I say that? Look no further than neighbouring Qatar Airways, who are pretty hellbent on expanding into Australia. The taking on of a stake into Virgin Australia to allow them to have greater access to this market. So they'll be going up against the likes of Emirates, Etihad Airways, alongside even Turkish Airlines, Singapore Airlines, and so many more that are trying to foster connectivity from Australia through their hub to markets right around the world. While the passenger aspect of this flight to Adelaide is going to no doubt be the talking point, Emirates Group will also leverage its Sky Cargo division to strengthen trade links. Each Boeing 777 flight will have 14 tons of cargo space, which is the equivalent to almost 200 tons per week between the 2 cities. Therefore, this will offer greater opportunities for the import and export businesses. With an estimation of some $98 million per year of valuation in freight exports, it's hard not to see why Emirates flights to Adelaide are only going to enhance this further across the long term. It is worth mentioning that there were some murmurs that Adelaide would be among the first markets to get the upcoming A350 all the way back in 2023. However, delivery delays alongside other networks shifts have meant that Adelaide has been missing from the initial batch of destinations that will receive the A350. Just because it is missing, though, doesn't mean the airline will not eventually deploy the aircraft to this city as more units arrive, with this aircraft deemed optimal for medium to long-haul flying to more regional markets. Adelaide is a major city, but in comparison to Melbourne and Sydney, it's not of the same stature, and from Emirates' standpoint, it would have less demand than, say, to justify an aircraft even bigger. So maybe that 350 will be later down the line deployed to this city. They're forecasting, remember, an A350 entry into service in early January, and this follows many differing delays. Over to neighbouring Etihad Airways, who have officially commenced flying to Toronto, Canada, as part of an expansion into North America. Toronto Pearson International welcomed its first Etihad service on Sunday, the 27th of October, with the A350-1000 used on the service. Etihad will use this to operate daily flights between Abu Dhabi and Toronto Pearson, enhancing its presence across that country. The airline has designated flight EY2122 as the number for the service, with a 2:35 in the morning departure from Abu Dhabi and an 8:15 arrival into Toronto Pearson. The return leg will depart Toronto at 2:20 p.m, arriving the next day at 12:10. Toronto will receive the state-of-the-art next-generation aircraft in the A350-1000. The airline will therefore also be able to offer 44 seats in its highly regarded business class cabin. The airline's chief revenue and commercial officer highlighted that 2024 was full of ambitious growth plans, and service commencement to Toronto is an important part of achieving those ambitions. 2025 will be another year when the focus will rest on growing the airline's route network and subsequent fleet. Important decisions on acquiring new aircraft will need to be made, with, as we know, recent reporting coming through that the airline is targeting either an order for the A350 or the 777X in a bid to basically grow that wide-body fleet. Route service commencement towards Toronto also aligns with Journey 2030, which are Etihad's best attempts to double its fleet and route network to cement its place at the top of the Middle Eastern carriers, but also really as a globally recognised airline. To aid that, Boston flights have been upgraded to daily as of the 1st of November. Another real testament to the strong demand for a route that, remember, was only recently re-added to the network in the last, say, year. The 7879 Dreamliner is going to be operating daily flights to Boston Logan as EY7, EY8. It's exciting times for the Middle Eastern airline in what represents their second major expansion since really the 2010s, the first one not going exactly according to plan. They will be hoping that moving ahead, this Journey 2030 plan is more sustainable. Thanks for watching. Leave your thoughts down below in the comments. Take care, be safe, and I'll see you tomorrow.